All right, we've got enough people in the room. Item 63, Stephen?
Yes, Commissioners. Item 63 is a supplemental allocation for the Route 50 improvements in South Lake Tahoe. This is a combined STIP shop project. The STIP portion constructs curbs, gutters, sidewalks, bike lanes, landscaping, and lighting. The shop portion constructs Tahoe Regional Quality Control Board compliant stormwater collection and treatment facilities. The project requires extensive coordination with the utility companies and the relocation of the utilities. The project was planned for 2 construction seasons, with most of the utility relocation work to be done by the utility companies prior to the start of the state's construction. At the start of the state's construction, most of the utility relocation work was not accomplished. This caused the state's contractor to resequence and delay his work. In addition, unidentified service connections were found requiring design changes and adjustments to the drainage system, thus disrupting the flow of the drainage work. With additional field conflicts, the contract had to be extended into a 3rd construction season, thus incurring additional costs for the project. Staff recommends approval of this $1.75 million supplemental allocation. The contractor has done the work and needs to be compensated.
Second. Been moved by Commissioner Gilmetti and seconded by Commissioner Tavallone. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 64, Stephen.
Yes, Commissioners. Item 64 is the preliminary closeout report on this fiscal year's right-of-way lump sum allocation. The department will be using all of the STIP allocation that you gave him of $95 million. The shop allocation piece of it is going to exceed the $34 million by about $8 million. They are making up the $8 million in post-certification, where the post-certification work was less by $8.4 million. Overall, they'll be finishing up this fiscal year with even Steven. I have gone over their spreadsheets project by project. I don't see anything that was fatal in there. So this is just a report that leads us into the next item, which is the allocation for next year. And next year's allocation request is for $144 million, which is a reduction from this year's allocation was $163 million. Most of the reduction is in the STIP line, where the STIP line is reducing from the $95 million to $62 million because of the reduced capacity of the STIP and less work happening in the STIP due to the financial situation that the STIP is in, which you were shown in the fund estimate. Overall, I've gone over this request with the department, and I would be recommending that you approve this lump sum allocation for the fiscal year 15-16 right-of-way allocation.
Motion by Commissioner Tavallone. Excuse me. Second by Commissioner Frommer. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 66.
Yes, Commissioners. Item 66 is the Proposition 1B quarterly reports. There are actually 8 reports in your binder. I have asked the department to concentrate on 3 of these. The Route 99 corridor. We held a meeting in Fresno, so a lot of the commissioners got the pleasure of driving through the Route 99 projects. There's like 27 projects, 10 have been completed. The majority of them will be going through completion in the next 2 years. I also asked them to address the local bridge seismic retrofit program. At the end, I'll be making some recommendations for that program because the state bridges have all been seismically retrofitted. The local bridges are way behind. And also to examine the intercity rail improvement program, where there seems to be a very slow or lack of delivery on the rolling stock purchases and on the Capital Corridor's maintenance facility. So, Bruce, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Bruce DeTerra with Caltrans Programming. I'm going to talk about State Route 99 first. We have $967 million within the program that is being dedicated to projects, with $20 million for administrative costs, another $13 million that has not yet been allocated. That has generated a total investment in the corridor of $1.3 billion. Commissioner Inman mentioned earlier the investment coming to these projects, and that reflects that. We have 13 projects in the Sacramento Valley and 14 in the San Joaquin Valley. The bond investment totals for those are displayed up there. The larger San Joaquin total is due to the much larger scale of the projects and complexity of them, even though the numbers are very similar. And similar with the local investments that go with that to raise the total value of the project to the $1.3 billion. So what we see here on the how the construction contracts are scheduled, you can see that the fiscal year 14-15, we have our actual, which is what the third quarter is reporting on, and what we expect within the closeout of the 14-15 of quite a lot of the construction projects closing out this fiscal year and next fiscal year with a rapid drop-off to wrap up the program. And for example, we have $716 million that's already been expended within the bond program. So we're quite well along the way in expenditures. So what this is getting for us, for the state and for the people of the San Joaquin Valley and the freight industry, for Commissioner Inman, is 112 miles of capacity expansion, 3.7 miles of additional auxiliary lanes, and a variety of improvements, operational improvements, new interchanges, and interchange reconstruction to provide greater width and better meeting modern standards. So this is you got to drive this. This is a map of the current status of the entire corridor. And the parts in red are the parts that are not yet meeting the 6-lane capacity vision for the corridor. So we have that kind of hopscotch look to the corridor that was referenced earlier. So if it's yellow up in here, or that kind of grayish color, or the small pink section, that meets what was the concept for the corridor. So we still have a good number of miles left to go, approximately 109 miles that are still 4-lane sections. That we hope that someday we can do meet the need on that, for a total of approximately, and these are planning level estimates, of $1.8 billion to complete the entire corridor in the San Joaquin Valley to at least a 6-lane configuration. So now I'd like to address the local bridge seismic retrofit program. There are 385 bridges that were in the program. 247 of them have been completed. 67 are in construction, and 71 have been evaluated to determine what the strategy was needed. So they're in the process of either designing or going through the environmental process. They've been past environmental, but into the PS&E package. The issue, which I believe Mr. Mahler will discuss, is we have a small set of projects that have not completed the design, with some not even having started design yet, a very small number that haven't started design. Our local assistance division is working diligently with the local governments, and again, they're quite different from Caltrans in the scales that they work at and the bridges they're working with, to help them get through these processes as best we can. But again, these are taking a very long time, and some of the issues we've not been able to work through yet. And with that, I'll take any questions or defer to Mr. Mahler.
On the local bridge seismic retrofit program, what I would suggest is that the commissioners invite some of these bridge owners. There are 5 that are in the design stage but have not even started design. And I would suggest that we invite these 5. There are two bridges in Barstow, 1 bridge in Oakland, 1 bridge in Riverside County, and 1 bridge in Sonoma County, that we invite these bridge owners and have them explain at the next quarterly review session why they haven't started design, what's holding them up, and how do we motivate them to at least design these things. And what is the commissioner's pleasure?
I would agree with that. Would they be here for the August meeting?
Whenever the next quarterly report is due, I think it would be probably September, October. So that will give these people notice to maybe do something, and when they do come, they will be able to tell you we've done something.
I would make a motion to have them come forward at the next quarterly meeting.
I would second that.
Motion by Mr. Commissioner Gilmetti, seconded by Commissioner Gardino. Any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask Caltrans a question on this. So, Bruce, in looking at the report that you provided, you have a sheet that says what's being accomplished.
Yes.
Do we have this kind of information for all of the other Prop 1B programs?
Yes, we could prepare that for each of the programs. The details are buried within the quarterly reports, but you really have to work at it to pull all that out. But we could prepare something like this for any one of the programs.
This will be good. Commissioners, as you know, we're trying to put together a report that one of the criticisms that we get in terms of the overall program, the conduct of the program, has to do with efficiency and the ability to deliver and commitments made to people with respect to programs. And so we are trying to put together a report on Proposition 1B, which is the best recent example of being able to effectively manage and deliver a program in large measure because we had the department and the local agencies really engaged, and because the commission provided a terrific level of oversight and management capacity. So this kind of information will be very helpful in terms of talking about what was produced by the Proposition 1B program as we highlight the efficiency and the effectiveness of the way this program was managed.
Be good for the public forums, too.
Just one. I had a meeting yesterday, or day before yesterday, with our local RCTC and some of the folks in Riverside, and they said that I asked them a question about this and the bridge and so forth, and they said that they would come up quickly with some information on that. I asked them if they would give me some information as to what it was, where it was, and what was happening. So I'm sure they'll have that shortly.
So maybe by October they'll be done with it and they'll report success to us. Bruce, now can you address some of the intercity rail portion?
Before we get to that, I want to comment on Executive Director Kempton's comment. I think we do need to broadcast our success. I'd also like to add that, because of the savings we got from the original projects, we need to emphasize how many additional projects we also put forth and got completed.
And if I could respond to that, basically we start off with half this number of projects that were identified, 7 in each of the valleys. So we doubled the number of projects and kept the dollar value the same, or the cost the same.
And in the
My point is
TCIF,
we need to broadcast that so everyone knows how successful this program was.
and in the TCIF program, we keep on recycling and adding new projects, which we'll be doing later on the agenda.
And I think that's where we probably failed the biggest, was advertising the successes of the whole program. Any other questions?
So now
Thank you.
I'm going to defer to a different Bruce Roberts, our Division Chief for Rail, for the next item.
Commissioners, it's a pleasure to talk to you. I'm Bruce Roberts, the Caltrans Division of Rail and Mass Transportation. I was going to talk to the book item itself, so I did not have a presentation other than what was submitted with item 66, specifically within the intercity rail report on page 88, if you do have your book items available of item 66. And specifically, we talk about the projects. While it's a small program, it's a program that's been highly leveraged. It's a $400 million element of Prop 1B that specifically goes toward intercity rail. Of the $400 million of the program, 125 by legislation goes toward rail, cars, and locomotive procurements. This is a program that has allowed us to be highly leveraged in the sense of leveraging $42 million of the program toward the rail cars to allow us to receive over $300 million of federal funds toward this. Specifically, I was asked to address 2 projects which have been on the program for some time. They were programmed. They have not been allocated as of yet. And I will say that in talking with agency, also talking with our programming department, I will be coming back to you in August with a program adjustment to this to address specifically one of the projects which is unallocated, which is we have a $25 million unallocated project, which will look to then reprogram and then to potentially leverage both STIP dollars and also leverage cap and trade funds so that we can utilize this bond money in order to then maximize projects that will be ready for construction and able to be allocated and then proceed very quickly. The program itself has been much a partnership program which has provided benefits on the corridors of Southern California, Northern California, and also through the Central Valley. And the program amendment, which will come forward in August, will look again at two of those corridors, specifically in Southern California and the Central Valley, to then leverage jobs that are ready for construction and then can be under construction in a very timely manner with STIP allocations, with environmental clearance already, and then be ready to go into construction here within the appropriate period of time once allocated. Finally, there was a comment about, and to address just one project called the Northern California Maintenance Facility. That project itself, while unallocated now, is utilizing engineering efforts underway by Amtrak and others to expand, and we'll be looking to expand our Oakland maintenance facility and also a layover facility within the Central Valley to accommodate the new vehicles and new cars once they begin arriving within the state, which will be approximately 2016 for the first round of locomotives, 2018 for the rail cars itself that come in with the funds that we've previously allocated. Program itself, approximately, while it's under the $400 million, 200 of it is allocated and underway. $100 million in particular that I asked for an allocation in December. We've been working with the rail car company. We do not have an agreement in place yet due to some legal issues. Without going into details of the legal issues, it's taken longer to come to resolution to put that $100 million under contract. I will be, if I do not, I expect to be under contract by October or by August. I should have come in this month and asked for a time extension for the time to award. I apologize for that. But I would, if it's not under contract by August, I would then be coming back at that point to ask for a post-fact extension for a time to award.
What are the issues?
Bruce, didn't that STIP piece of it already lapse?
If we look at a STIP element that was part of the Northern California Maintenance Facility, that was a previous action by the division to put a program in which was not it was a Sacramento-based maintenance facility which the right-of-way was not able to utilize. It did lapse in the previous year. Our current expansions will be over at the Oakland facility or in the mid-route utilizing a railroad right-of-way, so we don't have to acquire. It was an oversight by the division not to have removed that from the STIP cycle in 2014.
Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 67, Stephen.
Yes, item 67 is the department's fiscal year 2014-15 project delivery report. This is for the third quarter, and as of the third quarter, the department had delivered about 44% of the projects and 22% of the monies. Jim Davis is here to give us an update. Hopefully they have moved further in the fourth quarter, and where are we at, Jim?
Thanks, Stephen. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Jim Davis, and I'm the COS Program Manager. I'm reporting on the third quarterly project delivery report. In this report, we've had a couple of improvements that have been added. On the watch list, we've added some trend indicators. We've got an up arrow and a down arrow to illustrate whether a project risk has increased or decreased. We've also added two letters, whether we have added a project or whether added a project with an A or deleted a project or dropped a project with a D. On page 1 of your report, I'm proud to report that we've got 6 projects of significance that were completed and open to traffic, 3 State Route 99, and 2 CMIA bond program projects. On page 2, our performance measures, Caltrans reports on a total of 9 measures. 4 measures indicate risks, and the other 5 measures are on track to meet the performance measure goal. 3 measures at risk are related to projects in the contract for delivery, and I will expand on those momentarily. The fourth measures the risk on contracts accepted milestone, which may miss the goal by 1 or 2 projects. On page 3 is the watch list. Caltrans identifies projects deemed at risk for budget or schedule on the watch list. Projects are continuously monitored to ensure issues affecting the budget, scope, schedule are brought to the attention of managers and transportation stakeholders to resolve as quickly as possible. In the past 5 years, 97% of construction projects were completed within Commission's capital allocation and Caltrans delegated funding authority. Currently, Caltrans has 608 projects worth $11 billion under construction. 29 of those projects, or 4.7 of the projects, are at risk in construction. 9 are at risk in pre-construction. Of the 29, 12 construction projects identified are either completed or nearly complete. On page 4, I'd like to point out 2 of those projects. The first high-risk project you just approved a supplemental request for, and the second one will likely come to the Commission at the August meeting, and it will be the first support cost increase in construction under Senate Bill 1102. 17 of the remaining 29 construction projects have identified cost pressures on projects that are construction is in progress. 5 projects have identified right-of-way cost pressures on projects that are in construction in progress. In addition, we have those 9 projects in pre-construction. On page 9, we have the contract for delivery projects that have risk with schedules. In managing and delivery, Caltrans has taken intelligent and agreed-upon risks to deliver projects faster. In the past 9 years, Caltrans has delivered 2,389 out of 2,408 projects committed, or 99%. Caltrans currently has 343 projects in a contract for delivery worth $2.6 billion. We have 18 of those projects that have been identified with risk of 5%. As of last night, to address Stephen's comment, we have 55 projects out of those 343 that have not been delivered, or equates to about $644 million. In this meeting, I've had my email ringing off the hook for the RTLs that have been coming in, so they're coming in fast and furious. I still expect us to be around 6 or 8 projects that are really at risk for delivery. There are 2 projects that are new that are not very high on your report that have changed to become very high in the last few weeks. The first is the LA 710 Railroad Agreement. We have a 710 Railroad project to rehabilitate 710 down in Los Angeles County, and we're having railroad issues. It is anticipated that that project will not be delivered, but we will secure a construction maintenance agreement shortly after the end of the fiscal year. We also have a project that has some permitting challenges where a off-site mitigation site was rejected by one of our resource agencies, and we've been working very diligently to identify another site to meet our commitment, and that has not been resolved as of yet. In addition, we have 8 contracts for delivery projects that have moderate to low risks. On page 14, and this is one of the charts that I'm very proud of on this bar chart, it shows a distribution of transportation investments on this page at the end of project delivery or prior to going to construction. What it shows is that for the money that's been delivered for projects this year, 21% of our projects have been for bridge preservation, 18% for major damage restoration, 17% for pavement restoration, and 13% for collision reduction, which equates to about 69% of the project. So you, in a very graphical format, can see where our investments are going out to construction. On page 19 of your report, or on page 20 of your report, we look at projects that have just completed construction this fiscal year. And what we do is we identify those outcomes of those construction projects. 31% to date for mainline improvements, 23% for pavement preservation, 11% for major maintenance, and 8% for interchange improvements. The mainline constructed outcome investment is primarily due to Prop 1B bonded funded programs. Of the $535 million delivered in STIP program projects, $408 million of the funds were Proposition 1B bond funds. So you can see your dollars at work. On page 22 is our closeout report. This report provides cost information of support and capital expenditures. For the 36 STIP projects that were completed to date, $548 million was expended against a budget of $575 million, or 95%. And finally, 132 SHOP projects were completed to date. $1,047 million was expended against a budget of $1,131,000, or 93%. Commissioners, this concludes my report, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Questions? Thank you very much. Item 68, Stephen.
Yes, Commissioners. Item 68 and 69 are some of these TCIF savings being recycled to new projects. Under item 68, we are adding 3 projects to the TCIA program. Under item 69, we are approving baseline agreements for these 3 projects. Staff recommends approval of both items.
Motion by Commissioner Tavallone, second by Commissioner Frommer. Any questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 70, Teresa.
Item 70 is an information item. This is the drafted capital improvement plan prepared by the department. This is a compilation of over 2,000 capital projects that airport sponsors have identified as their infrastructure needs valued at $3.2 billion. The capital improvement plan is updated every 2 years, and projects must be included in this plan in order to receive state funding through the Airport Improvement Fund Program and the Acquisition and Development Program. A link to the report has been provided in your book item, and again, for the report. This is only an information item. The department will bring forward the final at the August meeting for adoption. If you have any questions, Gary Cathy from the division chief is here.
Okay. Item 71.
Okay. Item 71 is an action item. This item is a program amendment to the Aeronautics Acquisition and Development Program. The department is proposing to delete 1 project from fiscal year 14-15 and move 2 projects from fiscal year 14-15 to 15-16. Staff recommends your approval.
Been moved. Motion by Commissioner Tavallone, second by Commissioner Burke. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 72.
Item 72 is an action item. This is a financial allocation to 5 projects in the Aeronautics Acquisition and Development Program. Staff recommends your approval.
Motion by Commissioner Tavallone, second by Commissioner Frommer. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 73.
Item 73 is an action item. This is the lump sum allocation of $1 million for fiscal year 15-16 for the Airport Improvement Program. This is the set-aside amount that provides the match for the federal grant. Staff recommends your approval.
Motion by Commissioner Gilmetti, second by Commissioner Cardino. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? All opposed? Ayes have it. Item 74, Teresa.
Item 74 is the draft EIR for the State Route 710 North Study Project in Los Angeles County. The draft EIR considers 4 alternatives in addition to a non-build alternative. The 4 build alternatives under consideration are expected to cost between $105 million to $5.65 billion, depending on the alternative selected. The build alternative will have unavoidable significant environmental impacts to this project. As the Commission is a responsible agency, this report was provided to the Commission for comments. Staff recommends the Commission direct staff to send a letter to Caltrans that says that the Commission has no comments pertaining to the environmental impacts or the alternatives under consideration in the draft EIR. That the final environmental document should not be brought forward to the Commission for project funding decisions or other purposes until the recently released cost-benefit analysis is distributed through a process that ensures sufficient opportunity for the public to review and provide comment. And that early communication and coordination with the Commission is encouraged if it is anticipated that the Commission will be requested to approve the project for delivery through a public-private partnership or for the construction approval to allow for financing and tolling approval by the California Transportation Financing Authority. Staff recommends your approval.
Well, we have one speaker. So let's hear the speaker. Diana Mahmood.
Oh, this is way too high. Good morning. This is my third opportunity to appear before you on this item. I want to thank you very much for your attention and also bring to your attention the fact that letters have been submitted on this item by the cities of South Pasadena, former Assembly Member Portantino, the No 710 Action Committee, and the West Pasadena Residents Association, and I commend those letters to you for your consideration. First of all, I want to thank this commission for its support in encouraging Metro's release of the important cost-benefit analysis for these very costly project alternatives. That analysis was released last Friday. Unfortunately, there is no formal process for submittal of comments responsive to the cost-benefit analysis report. And since the report indicates that its contents will inform the evaluation of the identified alternatives, we believe that it's incumbent upon Metro and Caltrans to provide some sort of process for submittal of responsive comments. Moreover, the cost-benefit analysis has some significant errors and omissions. We note that staff has recommended no comment, but at a minimum, and I would note that the narrative of the draft EIR EIS is 2,000 pages. Together with its technical appendices, it's 24,000 pages for a total of 26,000 pages. So I understand why staff would not recommend the submittal of comments on the draft EIR and EIS. I will tell you, having reviewed some elements of that, we find it very deeply flawed. But I would encourage you to please submit comments on the cost-benefit analysis with respect to some or all of the following points. For one matter, the cost estimates for the tunnel projects are very significantly understated. Metro staff has utilized a figure, a benchmark, of $500 million per mile for this tunnel project, whereas for a similar project encompassing the Sepulveda Tunnel, they are using a figure of $1 billion per mile. Empirical evidence suggests that the cost estimate should be much higher than the $500 million estimate used by Metro. For the following reason, there is an insufficient consideration of risk. No tunnel of the size proposed by Metro, either in the single or the dual bore configuration, has ever been built anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world. The only project that exists in the world where a tunnel of a similar size has been attempted is in Seattle. And that project is extremely challenged, to put it mildly. In that tunnel, which would replace the Alaskan Wave Viaduct, which has encountered some earthquake damage and is believed to be structurally unsafe, and thus time is of the essence in completing that project. The tunnel boring machine, affectionately known as Bertha, only completed 1,000 feet of its 1.7-mile length before it got stuck. Notwithstanding this very, very limited progress, Washington DOT has paid the tunnel contractor $1 billion of its $1.35 billion total. In addition, the contractor has submitted claims to date of $300 million. Now, I'm a former construction lawyer for the Metropolitan Water District, construction and lawyer, and I can tell you there is going to be a giant slugfest between the owner, the contractor, and the manufacturer of the TBM as they each seek to place responsibility on the other for the many, not only for the costs incurred to date, The manufacturer and contractor have thus far incurred the cost of constructing an 80 by 120 feet deep access pit to access the TBM so that it could be removed from its present site where it was stuck. It's currently being repaired. It has been stuck since December of 2013. At this point, there's extensive damage to both the inner and the outer seals of the TBM. There is no contract completion date, and indeed, before they were just fired by the Washington State Legislature this week, the state's expert review panel told the state in its most recent report issued April of 2015, we cannot establish a contract completion date until the TBM resumes operation successfully. So at this point, critical project, no contract completion date.
1 minute.
The cost-benefit analysis.
1 more minute.
Thank you. I'm almost done. The cost-benefit analysis does not measure cost efficiency. There is no application of a cost-benefit ratio by which projects that produce the greatest benefit per dollar are identified. If such a cost-benefit ratio was applied in this instance, the TSM-TDM alternative would measure the highest benefits. The benefits regarding the tunnel use are highly speculative because there's no price elasticity of demand analysis. It is highly unlikely that there will be sufficient public dollars to construct this. You need P3 financing. There hasn't been any identification of the point at which you can derive sufficient toll revenues to pay the P3 project partners and still make the toll low enough such that people want to pay to use it, even at $5 per trip. That's $220 per month for commuters. There's no health cost analysis, and this is a really important issue. The Caltrans current model includes no health cost. However, we all know that disadvantaged communities track highway improvements since there's going to be so much transportation funding tied in. I really think you need to suggest that the Caltrans model be modified to include health cost benefits. I simply want to close by mentioning my city, together with Pasadena, Glendale, La Cañada, Flint Ridge, and Sierra Madre, is proposing a multimodal alternative beyond the 710. More information is available at beyondthe710.org. And with that, I thank you for your attention and again encourage you to consider the submittal of comments on any or all of the points that I have raised. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Marvin Pineda.
Good morning. Marvin Pineda on behalf of the City of Alhambra. While the cost-benefit analysis is not an environmental impact, so we don't feel that there needs to be an inclusion for a comment period. Again, but if the commission feels that there should be a comment period, we would follow you. We support the public, and we want the best for the public. We don't want rushed decisions here. As far as the cost-benefit analysis, we think it's appropriate, and there will always be arguments against it. The EIR is already 33,000 pages, so adding another period would just delay the process. The comment period for the EIR was already extended. Again, we want to move forward. This has been going on for over 40 years. There is evidence that kids that live to heavy populated areas are affected by traffic, and we will be submitting comments on the EIR. There is wide support for this project, and it will continue to grow. Recently, the San Gabriel Valley Council of Government supported the project. As far as the Seattle project, we believe there are two different geographic locations, and we think it's flawed saying that because a project failed in the past, another one will fail in the future. This has been going on for a while. there is the EIR and the cost-benefit analysis shows that this project reduces traffic, improves air, and we'll be submitting our comments on that. And we thank you for all your work that you're doing on this project, and we hope to continue to work with you on it. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you. Commissioner Gilmetti, then Commissioner Frommer.
Yeah, we've been waiting a long time for this cost-benefit analysis, and I realize the staff just got it. Is there any timeline as to when we're going to get staff comments on that?
Mr. Chair, in response to Commissioner Gilmetti's question, we were not intending to provide comments on the actual cost-benefit analysis. We did, and the recommendation to you is that we would communicate a letter to the agencies involved, both Caltrans and MTA, that a document should not be brought forward to the Commission for project funding decisions until, and I'm going to quote right out of the staff report, until a cost-benefit analysis is distributed, which it has been, but through a process that ensures sufficient opportunity for the public to review and provide comment. We certainly would be encouraging a process that will allow the public to comment on the content of the cost-benefit analysis.
Following up on that, thank you, Mr. Chairman and Executive Director Kempton. I want to thank, first I want to thank Caltrans for extending the time for public comment on the EIR, the DEIR. I understand they've also allowed time for some comment on the cost-benefit analysis. I don't know, Carrie, are you still here? Can I drag you up here because I have a couple of questions about process and then what's going to happen. I have concerns about this. I haven't had a chance to read it in detail. It just came out on Friday. But I do think there's some interesting questions, starting with the numbers that are used to estimate the per mile cost of tunneling. MTA, which prepared this cost-benefit analysis, did another one on the Sepulveda bypass, which is a project they are considering, and the cost that was used there for tunneling was about $1 billion, I think, a mile. This is $500 million per mile, and this is a 6-mile tunnel. We're talking about approximately. That's the alternative under consideration, either 2 tunnels or 1 tunnel. So this is it's a big project. So leading up to my question to you, Carrie, what are the opportunities then for the public to comment? And has Caltrans had an opportunity to review the CBA? I know it was just released. And will Caltrans be sort of going over the methodology used by MTA, or have you done that on the front end? In other words, where's the process for the public to give their input, and then who's going to kick the tires on this thing to make sure that it's we're good on the numbers, particularly on this tunnel?
Thank you, Commissioner. So we have extended the comment period on the CBA. We've added it to our website in District 7, and Metro has also added it to their website. It is now a part of our EIR, EIS. You can make comments directly to us, to Caltrans, to Garrett Damarath. We have posted that on our webpage. The comment period is extended to August 5th in compliance with CEQA. So that gives, we had extended it to the 120 days because of the complexity and the length of the document, and now that's an additional, extended now to August 5th. So any questions people have about the way the cost-benefit analysis was done, if there's questions about the calculations on the tunneling, the dual bore, the depreciation, the analysis, any of that, we'll be responding to that as part of the EIR EIS. So we will answer those questions. Okay. Staff did have some time to review it, and we'll go back and double check those numbers along with Metro.
And so if Caltrans was to come to this commission, then it'll be with a final environmental document, and that environmental document will include responses to issues raised about the CBA and issues raised about the environmental assessments made and the alternatives.
And any comments on technical studies, including the CBA, yes. Okay.
And then technically, though, you guys are the lead agency on this?
Technically, we are the lead NEPA and CEQA.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good. So I would just say, I'm obviously very concerned about this project. This is a project that was supposed to be completed in 1964
Yeah.
when I was 1 year old, and we're still here. I would just say to you, to Caltrans, before you bring this back to us in final form and ask to get put in any schedule or any programming, you really need to have a very credible case for the alternatives. You need to really have a credible case that we can obtain the funding. This is a really big project, what they're talking about with the tunnels. It's extremely expensive in a time when we're tight on money. And I just think there's a lot of other priorities that are important. And I think they really ought to look through these alternatives and make sure we're doing something that makes sense. It's a lot of money. And when I see what it gets my wrath up is when I see this one estimate for one project across town for $1 billion a mile, and this is 500, I say something's going on here. Because it's the same deal, the same geology in LA, the west side, as it is under the cities of South Pasadena and Pasadena. So let's go and kick those numbers a little bit. Let us know what you think at Caltrans. Sure. But again, if it's going to come before us, as long as this commissioner's on this commission, we're really going to look at making sure that we have done our homework very carefully, and we have credible case to make for this and credible sources of funding.
Understood. Any other questions?
If I could beg the Commission's indulgence for just a moment, I wanted to acknowledge for the record the comments that we did receive on this item. The previous speaker named some of those, but we did get a letter from Mayor Robert Joe, the City of South Pasadena, the City Manager of the City of La Cañada Flint Ridge, Mark Alexander, Jeffrey Baum from the West Pasadena Residents Association, Gloria Valladolid from who is a resident of Alhambra, Melissa Michelson, a resident of Alhambra, Jan Suhu from the No 710 Action Committee, and a letter from former Assembly Member Anthony Portantino. Copies of these communications were provided to the commissioners prior to consideration of this item, and we would propose to attach these communications to the letter that we send to Caltrans.
Staff recommendation. She moved it.
We're not making anything.
Right, we're not making anything. So it's been moved by Commissioner Burke. Second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Art. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 75.
Item 75 is an action item. This is the final EIR for the 6th Street Viaduct Seismic Improvement Project in Los Angeles County. The project will replace the seismically and structurally deficient 6th Street Viaduct over the Los Angeles River and the 6th Street overcrossing. The project will also include active transportation improvements. The EIR identified significant and unavoidable impacts. The City of Los Angeles, the City Council adopted a statement of overriding consideration, finding that the benefits of the project outweigh the impacts. Staff recommends the Commission accept the final EIR, findings of facts, statement of overriding considerations, and an addendum, and approve this project for future consideration for funding.
Excellent. Second. Motion by Commissioner Burke, second by Commissioner Tavallone. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. 76.
Commissioners, item 76 is an action item to adopt the 2015 Active Transportation Program Guidelines, Metropolitan Planning Organization competitive component for 2 MPOs, Southern California Association of Governments and Fresno Council of Governments. These are the final 2 MPO guidelines to be approved for the 2015 ATP. Senate Bill 99 allows the Commission to adopt guidelines proposed by MPOs for administering their MPO competitive component of the ATP. The MPO guidelines must be generally consistent with the state guidelines, but they are allowed discretion in certain areas, such as asking for a supplemental call for projects and project selection criteria and weighting. Fresno COG will be holding a supplemental call for projects and modifying the definition of disadvantaged communities to include severely disadvantaged communities. As they did in the last cycle, SCAG will allow each of the 6 county transportation commissions in their region to add up to 10 points to the state's score for consistency with local regional plans within their respective county. In your book item, the attachment for SCAG's guidelines shows that I'm sorry. Okay. It shows that they will fund up to 5% of the regional that they will make up to 5% of the regional program available to fund plans in disadvantaged communities. That is not consistent with statewide guidelines, but that has been changed subsequent to this book item. So it is now consistent with state guidelines to say only up to 3% of the regional program will be to fund plans in disadvantaged communities. Commission staff reviewed both of these guidelines and, with the exception of what I just mentioned regarding SCAG's guidelines, found them consistent with the statewide guidelines. Staff recommends your approval of SCAG's and Fresno COG's 2015 ATP guidelines.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the overview. I know in year one, we weren't sure we had tightened up how we actually audit or evaluate a disadvantaged community. Do we feel that in year two that we've been able to make that assessment more accurately?
Yes, both to the guidelines and on the application, we put more description of what a disadvantaged community should be. And when the evaluators are scoring the applications, they have access to subject matter experts on disadvantaged communities that will help them better assess that question.
And they've been able to assess it in a way that it's actually quantitative and not qualitative?
Well, there's 4 different criteria, and 3 of them are quantitative. Well, they all are, because even in the 4th one, they have to provide some quantitative data that they are truly a disadvantaged community.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, do we have anybody from SCAG here? Yeah. So does that change that staff is recommending? How do you have to go back to your board, or how's that going to work?
There's no microphone. How do you want me to respond?
Oh, there's no microphone.
It's
just tell Lori.
This one, right? Yeah. Excuse me, Lori. Yeah, that was an oversight. Our board actually did approve the 3%. The commission meeting where the statewide guidelines were approved, that approval was after our agenda had to be submitted for our board approval. It gets a little complicated. The short story is I messed up. Our board approved that we will submit the documentation to CTC staff, so you'll have the correct documents. And I apologize for that.
I would move staff recommendation.
Second.
Item 77 is an action item. The Active Transportation Program Guidelines allows for MPOs to submit a contingency list of projects with their ATP MPO component that can be amended into their program in the event a program project is delivered for less or if a project fails. Since programming their 2014 MPO component of 11 projects, MTC approved transitioning the Bay Area Bike Share Expansion Project to a public-private partnership model. This frees up about $7.7 million for programming projects on their contingency list. In addition, MTC has another $3.3 million currently unprogrammed. To program these funds, MTC is requesting to amend in the top 8 scoring projects on their contingency list that can also be delivered in 15-16. Those 8 projects are listed in the book item. Staff recommends your approval of this amendment.
Been motioned by Commissioner Tavallone. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Arp. Any questions? Frommer? Or were you like the ventriloquist? I seen your mouth move. Any questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 78.
78 is an action item to allocate $8,008,000 of funds to 30 projects programmed in the 2014 ATP. Staff recommends your approval of this allocation.
Motion by Commissioner Tavallone, second by Commissioner Burke. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 79.
Item 79 is an action item. This item is to allocate $474,000 of ATP funds to 2 projects programmed in fiscal year 15-16. Staff recommends your approval of this allocation.
Motion by Commissioner Tavallone, second by Commissioner Gilmetti. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 80.
Yes, Commissioners, this is an information item. The Commission's STIP right-of-way reporting policy, adopted in August 2014, requires the reporting of department-administered right-of-way capital and support expenditures at contract closeout. This is consistent with SB 853, which was signed by the Governor last year. This is the first such report by the department. We expect to see these coming forward on a regular basis. Differences greater than 20% of the programmed amount will count against shares.
Very good. Item 81.
Yes, Commissioners, items 81 through 83, these are action items to allocate STIP funds. These are requesting allocations for 3 state-administered STIP projects and 18 locally administered STIP projects. I would note there are a couple of minor changes on the change list for under tab 81 and tab 83. With those changes, staff recommends your approval of these 3 items.
Motion by Commissioner Gilmetti, second by Commissioner Tavallone. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 84.
Yes, Commissioners, items 84 through 87 are action items. These are requests for allocations for STIP projects that are programmed in 15-16. So these are, in effect, a 1-month advance. We have 2 state-administered projects and 12 locally administered projects, including one 3090 reimbursement that is programmed next year. Staff recommends you approve these items.
Motion by Commissioner Tavallone. Second by Commissioner Frommer. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 88.
Yes, Commissioners, item 88, again, an action item. This is a request for an allocation of federal earmarked funds, $752,000 in federal earmarked interstate maintenance program funds for a project in Orange County. Staff recommends your approval.
Motion by Commissioner Tavallone, second by Commissioner Inman. Questions? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. 89.
Yes, Commissioners, item 89, this is an information item. This is a report on the status of the lump sum quarterly report for local, or lump sum quarterly lump sum allocation. It's a quarterly report by Division of Local Assistance. They're letting us know that as of March 31, delivery is at about 17%. This is very typical of this program. Delivery tends to happen at the end of the federal fiscal year. And I believe yesterday at the RTPA meeting, Ray mentioned that they're getting close now to 50% right now. So this is, again, very typical. We expect that they will have full delivery and be in line for August redistribution.
Thank you. Item 90. Oh, any questions? I'm sorry. Item 90.
Yes, item 90, this is an action item to allocate state funds for the local assistance lump sum. They request these state funds in June of every year. They're requesting a little over 106 million. They request this a little bit early because they do sub-allocations starting right away in the summer, one of which is for Freeway Service Patrol. And staff recommends your approval of this item.
Motion by Commissioner Tavaloni, second by Commissioner Inman. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 91.
Commissioners, item 91 is an information item. This is a preliminary closeout report for the 14-15 minor program. The Commission, prior to the start of the fiscal year, allocates funding for the minor program. For 14-15, you allocated $81 million. As of May 18th, the department had delivered about 80% of this, and because this is a one-year program, there's still more allocations to be made by the department through their delegation, and also the Commission may receive a late request for allocation in August. The final report will be presented to you at the October meeting. Information item.
Thank you. As we move forward, would it be okay if there's no objections? Just we'll work right through the end of the agenda and then we'll adjourn. Very good. Okay, item 92.
Commissioners, item 92 is the minor lump sum allocation for the fiscal year 15-16. The department's requesting an allocation of $84,783,000, along with the project list that will be used to sub-allocate to those projects. Staff recommends your approval.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Tavaloni, second by Commissioner Arp. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. 93.
Commissioners, item 93 is an action item. It's a TCRP project amendment and allocation amendment, and it's simply to redistribute previously allocated TCRP funds from one segment of a project on Route 46 to a later segment. Staff recommends your approval.
Motion by Carl Gardino, second by Commissioner Burke. Sorry. Any questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 94.
Item 94 is an action item also. It's the monthly allocation for shop projects. The department has gotten these projects ready. It's 47 shop projects totaling $433,044,000. Staff recommends your approval.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Arp, second by Commissioner Tavaloni. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 95.
Item 95 is also an action item. It's also an allocation for shop projects. This is an advance allocation for two projects, program in 15-16. The department's got the projects ready. It's requesting $8,519,000 for the two projects. Staff recommends your approval.
Motion by Commissioner Tavaloni, second by Commissioner Arp. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 96.
Item 96 is a financial allocation for a transit project. This is an advancement for a project program in 15-16, and the staff recommends that you approve the $7,995,000 for the project.
Motion by Commissioner Gilmetti, second by Commissioner Tavaloni. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 97.
Item 97 is also an action item. It's also a financial allocation for transit projects. These projects, though, are programmed in 16-17, so it's a two-year advancement. Capacity for these projects was provided by two projects that lapsed. One of the projects in the rail report, you heard that they lapsed that project, so it provided capacity to advance these projects 2 years. Projects are ready, and staff recommends your approval of the $39,100,000.
So moved. Motion by Commissioner Arp, second by Commissioner Tavaloni. Any questions? All in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 98.
Commissioners, items 98 through 106 are the time extensions on this month's agenda. There's one change, one item on the change list is under item 99, project number 3 has been withdrawn. Staff recommends that you approve the time extensions from item 98 to 106 based on the recommendations in the staff spreadsheet.
Okay, so 106 is
It's through 105.
through 105.
Commissioner Gilmetti moves and Commissioner Tavaloni seconds.
Okay. These cover through items 105. Commissioner Tavaloni, Commissioner Gilmetti made the motion. Commissioner Tavaloni seconded the motion. Any question?
Okay.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Item 106.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So, Mr. Chairman and members and everybody in the audience, this is Juan Goodsman's last item to present to the California Transportation Commission.
Thank you. Good idea.
Okay, Commissioners. Item 106 is a request to extend the period of project development. This is for 2 locally administered STIP projects. Staff recommends your approval.
I move that we send this back for more staff evaluation.
I have some questions on this.
The motion was made by Commissioner Gardino. The second is by Commissioner Tavaloni.
I was going to second it, but what you really don't know is that the papers have not been signed. I think you're assuming that this is your last hurrah. But you need to wait till this all comes to get done properly.
Wait for the check in the mail.
Good luck with that.
We're tying your retirement date to the completion of 710.
We're wondering about the allocation capacity for pension payments right now.
So we have any more questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Any other public comment? I would like to adjourn this meeting in honor of Juan Guzman. May you have a long and happy retirement.
Thank you.